It's a beautiful day out here today. The birds are very loud and there's a lovely breeze. Without this breeze, it would be a little bit on the hot side, but the breeze is keeping everything cool and calm and collected. I certainly appreciate it, and I reckon the birds do as well. It's a real shame that a lot of us are so caught up in keeping healthy in ways that don't particularly matter as much as others. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a massive advocate of going to the gym. I go to the gym most days, 4 or 5 times a week. I eat healthy. I make sure I always eat healthy. I drink a lot of water throughout my day. I make sure I get my hikes in like I have today. Get out into nature as often as I can, etc. But there's a number one killer of men between the ages of 40 and 50. Can you guess what it is? Nope, it's not heart attacks. Nope, not cancer either. Accidents, you say? Nope. It's suicide. The number one cause of death for men aged between 40 and 50 is suicide. Cancer claims less lives. Heart attacks claim less lives. It's suicide that is taking men from this earth. What else is taking men from this earth? Well, after suicides, it's drug overdoses. Drug overdoses. So men are killing themselves and overdosing on substances to the point where their heart stops. Yet we live in such a wonderful world where we can have so many wonderful experiences. Yet the number one threat to men is themselves, is their mind, is the world influencing how they see themselves and how they value themselves. And as a result, most men are killing themselves. It's the number one killer. That is a staggering, terrifying stat. It's deeply upsetting. I have friends in their 40s, and I can totally see why this society can get into the heads of men to such a degree that they end up topping themselves. Because there's another eerie fact out there, which is more millionaires commit suicide than homeless people. I couldn't believe this when I read it, but it's the case. Not in every country, but in a lot of countries, the big countries that we all hear about every single day. More millionaires commit suicide on average than homeless people. Which again never made sense to me, because you think being homeless is a worse life than being a millionaire. I remember being at a castle near where I live. It's a castle that's been knocked down and lots of it's missing, but I relax there sometimes. And I was with a friend who was in his 40s, and we were sat there for a while and we saw a businessman. I assume he was a businessman. He had a briefcase and he was in a suit and he was in a tie, and he took off his jacket, he made a phone call, and he couldn't stop crying afterwards. And we were just keeping an eye on him because there's a wall that has quite a big drop below it. And we saw him walk over to the wall, and we were just keeping an eye, just thinking, gosh, I wonder what's happened to him. I hope he's okay. And he kind of sorted himself out eventually and put his jacket back on, wiped his eyes and left. Thank goodness. But you don't know what that call was. You don't know what people are going through. Especially, quote, successful people. You know, you build your life around money and then suddenly you stop getting it. You know, God forbid the business goes under. God forbid your wife leaves you for a more successful man. Successful, in quotation marks. Then what? Then what are you left with? I think a lot of us in this society, we try to build ourselves around a false character. We truly believe that we have to become someone. We have to become something. We have to establish a very clear identity for ourselves. Otherwise, you live in the real world, and the real world is full of wonder and questions, and this can break people as well. But what has absolutely saved me in this life is embracing the wonder, embracing the I don't know how, I don't know what, I don't understand, I have so many questions, no one's there to answer them, and that's okay. All the animals out here in nature just get on with life. They just get on with it. They don't question it, and oftentimes I ponder on this, I reflect on this, and I realize it's because I don't think they have the capacity to reflect. I don't think they have the intelligence to reflect. I think they are just fully present in what they're doing, and they don't have the time or the thoughts or the intellect to actually think, what are we doing here? What is going on? They just get on with life. But humans, for better or for worse, we have this ability to reflect, to think, to ponder, and to get so worked up inside of our own heads. And it kills people. It's killing people all the time. There are people in the world who would lose their right arm and left leg to live your life. As hard as that is to believe, it's true. It's the case. I've known people before who have fled countries where they have seen their parents murdered, where they have seen their neighbours murdered, where their house has been set on fire and they've had to just flee. These are the people who would lose their right arm and left leg to live your life. And it can be incredibly difficult to get through life without contrast. Contrast is a saviour. Contrast is the most beautiful thing we have available to us. Because here's the thing. You've heard the quote before, which is, comparison is the thief of joy. Okay, we've all heard this before. Comparison is the thief of joy. But it can also be the giving of joy. Because if you compare your life to someone who is apparently living a much better life than you, jump on social media, you'll see a lot of them. Social media is the best place to go if you want to feel bad about yourself, trust me. But comparison can also be the giving of joy. Because if you compare your life to someone worse off than you, you can feel so much better in yourself. You can feel so much more gratitude for your life, for your health, for the family that you still have left, for your friendships. You might say to me, George, I've only got 2 friends. Okay, compare yourself then to people who have no friends. That's me, George, I have no friends. Okay. You have the ability to go out and find friends, to make friends, to be a friend within yourself. There are some people who have lost their families. There are some people in a hospital bed right now, praying, begging for one more day, hoping that their child can come down and be with them before they pass, to watch one more sunset. The hospitals around the world are flooded with people who are receiving bad news today. But you're here, you're alive, you're breathing. You do have friends, you do have family, you do have opportunities, and you do have the ability to enjoy life. I know it can seem like we live in a world that is very black and white. There are people who are happy, there are people who are sad, there are people who are successful, there are people who are failures. Life is not black and white, life is grey, and life can be whatever you want it to be. But I urge you to immerse yourself in that feeling of wonder, in that feeling of questioning it all. These are the thoughts we have that break us in society, that can often lead to the depression, to the suicides. You know, it's not hard to break someone. It's not hard to break someone. If you put someone in a room that is all white walls, white cutlery, white rice is your only food, white bedding, white ceilings, no windows, you go mad very quickly, because your brain literally needs to see a variety and diversity of colours. You need it to stay sane. Well, let me remind you that you need nature in your life to stay sane. You need to be authentic and honest with yourself in this life to stay sane. You need to ponder often with that sensation of wonder, with the sensation of how, why, when, what. Don't go through life with such arrogance, thinking that you have the answers to it all, or that someone online has the questions and answers to it all. No one really knows. No one really gets it. Everyone's just trying to do their thing, and that's okay. Seeking peace brings you an immense amount of comfort and can seriously help you in this life. Men aged 40 to 50 have a higher chance of taking their own life than someone else taking it, than a disease taking it, than being in a car crash or an accident. Men's biggest threat is themselves. A man's biggest threat in this world is themselves. We need to prioritize our mental health, our emotional health. Are you looking after yourself? Are you being good to yourself? Do you know how many men there are out there? And this might be you, or if you're a lady, this might be your husband or your partner or your son. How many men out there beat themselves up for relaxing, for taking time out? And I'm not talking about playing on the PlayStation, being lazy, being on the Xbox all day and ordering pizza. I'm not talking about that, which is fine, by the way, if you want to do a bit of that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the same as watching TV, whatever, just taking time out. But I'm not talking about being lazy. I'm talking about just taking time out, going for a walk by themselves, immersing themselves out in nature by themselves, doing a bit of gardening by themselves, sitting, relaxing, enjoying. Because everyone in this life is so obsessed with creating a false identity of themselves. We want to be someone, we want to be something. But the only person we can truly be is ourselves. We don't have to be like anyone else. You are unique. I can prove it. Your fingerprint is not like anyone else's fingerprint on earth, which makes you wonderfully and beautifully unique. And we have to embrace that. We have to immerse ourselves in that. Otherwise, this life can very easily crush us. And I think the saddest part about this is it's not life itself that takes us. It's the life that we as humans have created for ourselves. Suicide is awful. Suicide is terrible. It happens to a lot of people. But I get a lot of inspiration from the animals out here who just get on with life. And they don't get warped up in what they should or shouldn't be doing. A horse doesn't think maybe I should be more like a sheep. A sheep doesn't think maybe I should be more like a cow. And a cow doesn't think maybe I should be like a fox. Because a fox has it all together. A fox's life seems better than a cow's life. They don't have these thoughts, these comparing thoughts. They are just authentically themselves. And I believe the more authentically yourself you can be, the easier life becomes. Because the moment you put on a mask, you can break without being broken. Take off the mask and be yourself. Enjoy your life as much as you can. Encourage others around you to be authentic as well. Life is so much more enjoyable when you do this. Unfortunately, I don't have a theme for this video. That was just something that me and my friend were talking about the other day, the whole fact that the biggest threat towards a man in their 40s and 50s isn't a disease or someone else taking their life, it's themselves, it's their own mental health. That's terrifying. And I was thinking about that on my way up here, and I never really know what I'm going to do or what I'm going to talk about when I make these videos, but that was just what's on my mind. Hopefully it provided you with some comfort and some understanding, and I hope you enjoyed listening. Please like the video if you found it interesting. Leave a comment below if you've got anything to add to the conversation. Please subscribe if you're new here. I make 2 videos every week, and I make a short Monday to Friday to provide you with some positivity and some comfort. Reach out to someone, ask a man in your life, a male in your life, if they're okay, how they're doing. And if they say, yeah, fine, you just say, no, seriously, how are you? Talk to me. Because I say this a lot, but we all crave that best friend who's always there for us. But we've got to remember as well that we need to be that friend as well. We need to be that person. We need to be that friend. We need to be that rock. We need to be that shoulder to cry on. So do your best for others and do your best for yourself as well. Check in with yourself. How's your mental health? How's your emotional health? And if you're feeling good, great. Go with that. Don't find an excuse to not be okay. Because like I say, there are so many people out there who are dying today and would crave to have your life. A lot of the times we can think our life is really bad, when actually, in hindsight and in contrast to others, life's actually pretty good. And when you embrace that, you can enjoy it. And I urge you to enjoy it. I'm going to stay out here for a bit longer, and then I'm going to continue my walk, have some lunch, crack on with the day. Sending all the love that you deserve. Thank you for watching again. I appreciate it. God bless.